Hello! It's been quite a long time since I've made a karate video, so I thought I would make one. If you watched my channel from the very beginning, you'll know that I used to make a lot of karate videos, and I used to show you my training, and I used to go around my dojo and went on a gashku, and I would have gone on more, but then my health got progressively more and more bad until it just got to the point where I was just making myself ill training. And I just couldn't carry on. I couldn't cope, so I stopped doing it. But I still love karate. It's still a big part of my life, even with my fatigue. With this lockdown, I've been going a bit crazy in the house, so I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna do an instructional video. 3 Kihon moves. Kihon means basics. It's the foundations. There are a lot of karate styles and schools which love to do all the fancy stuff and, you know, breaking balls, flying kicks through the air and stuff, but you need your basics, you need your foundations. It's like the story of a house being built on sand, and because the foundations are weak, it doesn't matter how good the house is, it falls down. And so these are the very, very first basic building blocks of the foundation, which then everything else can progress. So for the first 3 basic things, you've got your 3 basic heights. So this height down here, this level, is called Gedan, this is Chudan, this is Jodan. So if you're doing a downward block, obviously that's really lame, that would be Gedan. The style I did, this was called Gedan Uke, although I know some styles call it Gedan Barai, although what I did, that was a Gedan Barai. But basically you're blocking lower. And the Chudan level, you've got your Chudan Uke, and so that's the Chudan. And for the Jodan level, the block is called, that's right, Age Uke. Don't ask me why, I don't speak Japanese. I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. So obviously those blocks you just saw there were a bit lame. Sorry, there is a pigeon flying above me, sorry. So the first thing, like when you go into a dojo, is you'll probably learn these 3 basics. First one you probably learn is Chudan, and then don't worry about too much about the hips now, because I know different styles work the hips a bit differently. Like a Goju-Ryu hip movement is slightly different to a Shotokan hip movement. So the first thing you're going to learn is the Chudan Uke, and just start out with the fist straight, so it's not like bending up, bending down. These are common mistakes that you see beginners make. They all bend the wrist, so that bit needs to be flat. And the distance between, another common mistake you'll see people make, they either put it right out here or too far in. And so, way to generally measure it, get your other fist, put it there, plonk your elbow onto it, put it that way, sit better, and then that distance is about right. And also, that's clearly wrong. If you do that, that's not blocking anything. If you do that, that's not blocking anything. So the distance should be, there should be about 90 degrees there. The fist here should be roughly in line with the shoulder. Now I'm going to assume by this point in the class you would have been shown how to make a fist. So thumb on the outside, unless you're doing Tai Chi, thumbs on the inside, karate, thumb on the outside. So that's your basic Chudan. Then the other arm is going to do a pullback. Common mistakes again, letting the fist do weird things like that, so this should be nice and flat. Also nice high pullback, that doesn't really do anything. Nice and high, it's called Hikite, and there's a lot of debate about Hikite, whether you actually need to do it, but these are basics, okay? So the fundamentals are knowing what your arms are doing. I know that this arm is here, I know that this arm is here. And I move, and then when I swap them around, I know that this arm is here and this arm is here. Knowing where your arms are is quite important. This has so many applications and uses. I'm not going to get into them here because this is just for basics, but there's endless amount of things you could do with a good pullback. Now when you first learn it, you're going to think this is the main blocking arm. So you come across and you may do something similar to this and you think, okay, that is the blocking arm. And you may even practice it. Someone might try punching. When I used to teach this, I would just do very slow punches and then the person would block. And then you think, oh, I've got that, I've mastered that. And then the senpai or sensei will say, ah, there's another block. Once you think you've mastered this, and then they come along and say, actually no, this isn't the blocking arm at all. And then they say, okay, it doesn't even mean block, it means receive, but that's a whole other thing. To keep it simple, we'll call it a block. They say, this is the blocking arm, which is going to come across, like a move called a soto uke. And then this one comes across. And you're like, okay. You know, you've just been practicing it over and over again, thinking, you know, this arm, the arm coming from pullback is the blocking arm. And then suddenly you're told, as you know, this is the blocking arm. Comes across. And it actually makes it a lot easier. Because if you've got someone punching you, if you're in like a standard exercise, you've got someone just standing right in front of you, punching, you can suddenly block a lot easier if you realise that this arm is the blocking arm and not this one. So the pullback arm is not the primary blocking arm. So this is not the primary blocking arm. It's this one, the one that's already out, is the primary blocking arm in the Chidan Uke. Again, with the Gedan, whether you're doing like a Gedan Barai, like that, or with a strike at the end, like in katas, you might see a move like that. I'm just going to do this move. So you come up, and then this is good for kicks and low punches. And then again, you'll learn this and you think, okay, this is the blocking arm. This arm just goes straight back to pull back. And then once you get the hips involved a bit, like that, and then you're told, no, 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 this isn't the blocking arm. It's this one, the one that's already out. That is the block. There. That's the block. Like so. So if you imagine an attack, a low attack coming in, whether it's a punch or kick or whatever, this arm's all the way up here. For this arm to get done there, whether you're doing it that style or that style, that's too long for it to get down there. You need something that's already down there. That just has to do that. And then again with Agate Uke, it's the same, making sure this is all correct and everything. Again, fist not doing weird things like that. The arm is at a slight angle. If you push it up at a 90-degree angle, apart from the fact that it lifts up the whole shoulder and makes it uncomfortable, having a nice angle there, so if an attack comes in, it just slides off. So you think, okay, that's good, I'll do that. Attack comes in, whether it's an overhead punch or something, do that, deflects. Key mistakes, again, apart from the wrist, doing something silly like this, or out there, they're your main mistakes. Or, another key mistake is doing something like this. There are two problems with this. One, you can't see your attacker, and two, it's not actually defending your head. So, they're your two or three or whatever mistakes. So keep that out like that. This one comes across, and then you'll be learning this, and you think, okay, I've got this now. This comes across and blocks, comes across and blocks, and then whoever's taking the class, your senpai or sensei, will be like, no, this isn't the blocking arm. It's the one that's out. It's the same with all three. That's your block. Block. But as that comes across, that does that. This often trips beginners up because they've got one arm going that way, one arm going that way. And to get both of them at the same time really confuses people, and then they end up, I can't actually do what they do. They do something weird anyway. So that's the block, and then it just smooths out, and then add the hips in to give it a bit more power. A good way to actually get this right is if someone grabs, not too tight. It's a bit hard for me to demonstrate on my own, unfortunately. But if someone was to grab the arm that's out, just a gentle grab, and then you do the correctly, that means they can't hold on. If you do it wrong, you'll probably get to this point, and it's like a bash, and then it's just a question of who's the strongest, and that's obviously not correct. It's supposed to be about technique. And the same with the Chidan Uke. If someone just grabs the wrist, again, you can get them off. And then same with downward block as well. Get down. They're not the most effective and efficient for getting out of wrist grabs. There are lots of other techniques that I could possibly show you, but this is just as an exercise so that you get the arms the right way round, because this arm comes in front, where it's very easy for people to do this. They come in front. So if imagine someone's grabbed this wrist here, and then I do this in front, it's not going to break them off, because it's not doing anything. But if you do it in front, then it will get them off. Alright, so that's the first three basic blocks. There's loads of others, like Sota Uke. Once you've got those three, you might learn Sota Uke. And then you realise, hang on, I've already done Sota Uke because it's part of Chudan Uke. And then suddenly you think, ooh, what else do I already know? And then you start looking at Age Uke again, or Gidan Uke, and think, actually, are there things in here that I didn't realise already knew? And then you start looking at grabs and things, and why do we do Hikate, pull it back? And then suddenly you think, hang on, this could be an attack. If you had to do that into someone's neck or face, that's an attack. All techniques can be blocks or received or attacks. Everything can be an offense or a defense. And then that's when you start thinking about it, and then you realize, actually, these three basic Kihon techniques actually have a lot more to them than I first thought. And then you can do exercises like this, and just sit, and then when you think, hang on, I thought it would say basic, but now I know exactly where this arm is. So when someone's coming in to attack, and maybe you want to move out the way, instead of doing a Soto, okay, you do a parry. It's the same move, and then like you're there, and it just all comes together. Getting these three things right first, everything else will follow. All right, bye.